a horrific murder of a schoolgirl on Children's Day. Don't miss out. The girl's ghost will expose everyone involved in her death. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a channel of true and shocking stories. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants investigate resonant criminal cases and unbelievable paranormal phenomena. June 1st, 2018. The center of a small Ukrainian village. These are the scenes from the celebration of Children's Day. Nadíya and Dmytró can't recall it without pain, as it's their daughter, Veroníca, dances and smiles for the last time in her life. She disappeared shortly after the celebration, and the following day was found dead, not far from a stream on the outskirts of the village.
The cause of death was mechanical asphyxiation. Veroníca was strangled with hands.
When a child doesn't return home and is found dead the next morning, it's truly horrifying.
Veroníca was our only child. I love her very much. It's incredibly hard without her.
My beloved granddaughter. Veroníca was my only joy. Now she's gone, I don't even know how to go on living.
Veroníca was a true star of the local dance ensemble, performing not only in her village, but all around Ukraine.
She had various costumes and played different roles.
She was so sociable. Everyone loved her.
Her laughter was contagious. Everyone around would immediately start laughing. She was so cheerful.
The parents still can't bring themselves to remove even the smallest trinkets from Veroníca's room.
She collected seashells and different beautiful stones. It's so hard sometimes that I immediately go out. Everything reminds me that my daughter used to live here.
The horrific murder of the schoolgirl in a small, quiet village, moreover, on Children's Day, shocked everyone deeply.
It's a small village where everyone knows one another. Nothing interesting ever happens here.
Veroníca's mother recalls the last day of her daughter's life. After the celebration, there was a disco, and Veroníca asked her mother for permission to stay and dance. Nadíya still blames herself for letting Veroníca stay.
I allowed her to stay by 11. We agreed that she'd come home on time.
However, when Veroníca didn't return at the appointed time, her mother got alarmed.
I dialed her. Her phone was off. I felt panic and fear. I started calling her friends who might have been at the disco. I even went to her classmates myself, asking if they had seen or heard anything.
The search for the 7th grader took almost 24 hours. The parents tried to find anyone who might possibly know where their daughter had gone or seen her.
Aunt Nadíya, her mom, approached me and asked, "Have you seen Veroníca?"
On June 1st, Lydia, Veroníca's friend, was also at the disco. However, she says she didn't see when or where Veroníca had disappeared. None of Veroníca's friends could say where she had gone.
I called our local police officer, and he told me to urgently call the police from the town. I hoped they would find something, and everything would be okay.
However, on the evening of the following day, a call from the investigator shattered that hope.
We were taken to the morgue for identification.
As we entered, her face was covered. She was completely covered, and just her red hair remained visible.
We almost fainted.
According to the forensic examination, the girl died before 3 a.m. on June 2nd.
According to her parents, Veroníca's body was all bruised badly.
She was beaten all over. What kind of monsters could do this to a child?
What shocked the parents even more was that their daughter was found partially undressed.
Her top was pulled up. A tracksuit jacket was thrown over her. Her leggings and panties were pulled down to her ankles, and her shoes were scattered in different directions. I can never unsee it.
Veroníca's parents feared she had been sexually assaulted. However, the investigators dismissed these assumptions.
The investigators assert that she wasn't raped. According to them, there were no signs of sexual violence on Veroníca's body.
Panic swept through the village. Who could be so cruel as to kill a 7th grader like this? Yet, just a day after the horrific crime, the investigator in charge informed the parents that they had detained the attacker.
He said the suspect was in custody, confessing to everything. He assured me he wouldn't escape anywhere.
But when Veroníca's family learned who the suspect was, they were simply shocked. When they arrived at the police station, they saw a frightened 8th grader named Danilo. He was small and only a year older than Veroníca.
Such a little skinny kid. He would never overpower Veroníca. She was strong, athletic, and she did wrestling. She outperformed everyone at the training sessions.
According to the investigators that evening, Danilo escorted Veroníca home from the disco. Along the way, an argument erupted, during which the boy inflicted severe bodily injuries on the victim and then strangled her.
Veroníca's family has many questions. How could this boy strangle her? Why didn't she defend herself? And how did she end up in the company of the 8th grader with whom, according to her parents, she had never even communicated?
Veroníca never crossed paths with him in her life.
Just like Veroníca's parents, Danilo's mother, Lyudmila, doesn't believe the official version.
They weren't friends or even acquaintances.
Our expert tried to get at least a comment regarding this case from the local police.
I'm calling you regarding the murder of Veroníca Stanko. Could you provide a comment on this case, please?
No. The case is currently in court.
Through my channels within the police force, I managed to obtain a video recording of the suspect's interrogation, where he describes what happened.
I punched her, Veroníca. Then I panicked, got scared, and ran home.
Oddly enough, but during the interrogation, Danilo didn't even mention undressing Veroníca. Moreover, I didn't hear any questions from the investigators about that either.
The locals suspect that the schoolboy was mistakenly arrested because he was the only one among the visitors of the disco who had previous problems with the police.
I know that he stole a scooter once, but to kill someone, he's not capable of that.
The villagers believe that the police are simply trying to pin Veroníca's murder on the teenager. Meanwhile, the real culprit remains free.
The real criminal is free, while the innocent boy is in prison.
Moreover, Danilo comes from a troubled family. His father is currently behind the bars, while his mother supports their large family single-handedly, so they can't even afford a lawyer.
I think they arrested him because his father is in prison. Maybe they assumed it was him because of his family history.
It's impossible. I know he didn't do it.
Veroníca's parents claim that the evidence against the schoolboy that the investigators suggest raises more questions than answers.
They have a suspect, but no evidence.
Forensic experts found numerous scratches on Veroníca's body. In this photo, you can see clearly nail marks. However, it's strange that the swabs taken from under Danilo's nails immediately after his arrest showed neither traces of her blood nor epithelium.
For some reason, they didn't conduct an examination of the swabs from under Veroníca's nails.
According to the chief investigator, her hands were in water for a long time. But based on the photos of the place where they found her, her hands couldn't have been in water.
Veroníca's parents believe that the psychics are their only hope to understand what truly happened to their daughter.
We really want to know the truth, to find out who the real killer is, instead of just pinning everything on that boy.
I won't get my daughter back, but if we don't hold the one who really did it accountable, the impunity could lead to another crime.
Our project's experts, Yana Pasinkova and Jana Shulakova, take up the case.
Hello.
Hello?
We want to know who killed our daughter.
May I see your daughter's photo?
Of course.
I need a lighter. I sensed that Veroníca was an extraordinary child. She had special kind of energy, as if she wasn't meant to be born at all.
Due to elevated male hormones, I can't get pregnant. I can't have children.
Nadíya says she always dreamed of having a daughter. But after marriage, she struggled to conceive.
It was a miracle that I got pregnant at all. After After that, I couldn't conceive, carry, or give birth.
This child was like a gift from fate. I couldn't fathom why the girl whose birth was such a miracle was taken away from this family so cruelly.
I need to see your daughter's room, and I need something of her belongings.
Yes, sure.
These are her certificates, right?
Yes, for the participation in contests.
Dance wasn't just a hobby for her, it was her life.
I heard Veronica's voice. She said, "My friend knows my secrets. You'll see her at the gate. Let's go outside." Among the locals, I hoped to find the friend who might know the secret related to Veronica's murder, but instead, I saw the spirit of a deceased girl who was holding Veronica's hand. She was her very close friend. But now both of them are gone. She lost her friend shortly before her death.
Yes, our neighbor Maria.
It turns out that Veroníca and her friend Maria were members of the same ensemble.
I feel the same pain as yours. It's a mother's pain. Come over here.
This woman's name is Olena. She lives nearby. A few years ago, she tragically lost her daughter, Maria. People still remember the tragedy that occurred at the public beach. In broad daylight, 2 children died before their parents' eyes.
My husband was riding a raft with her and another girl, but the sluices on the river suddenly opened, and the current carried them away to the other side of the river.
Olena's husband tried to pull both girls to the shore, but the current was too strong. Maria died from cardiac arrest, and her friend drowned.
My God.
We detected Maria's spirit for a specific reason.
Veroníca perceives Maria's death as a great injustice from the world. To her, it was like losing a part of her. You see?
Yes.
Veroníca's parents still remember their daughter visit her best friend's grave and sit there for hours every day after school.
Veroníca quit the ensemble because everything there reminded her of her deceased friend.
After Maria's death, she simply took down the poster of that ensemble that hung on the wall in her room, saying she didn't want to see it.
And she just couldn't be there.
They perceive each other as family, like sisters. Your daughter knew absolutely everything about Veroníca. She knew all her secrets. I feel this secret was related to love and some man. I see a small room with fair walls. You both are in there. Your daughter is still alive, and she's with you. You argue. Dmytró, you're pushing something. Stop. I hear a word, pedophile.
Are you saying that there was a sexual relationship between the father and daughter?
I shouted at her.
It turned out that Veroníca started communicating with an 18-year-old youth named Yaroslav. Her father believed that the friendship between the 7th grader and the almost adult young man wouldn't end up well.
I shouted at him and called him a pedophile. I told him not to come near her.
I thought maybe the secret of the murder was connected to him. We needed to understand who Yaroslav really was.
Veroníca's family say that Yaroslav also lives in their village. At first, her mother and grandmother were concerned about Veroníca's friendship with someone much older than her. However, after getting to know Yaroslav better, they felt reassured.
He's an ordinary boy. He's cheerful and interesting. They mostly walked along the street by the pond. Once, she came home with a rose. We asked her where the rose was from, and she said it was from him.
Nadíya says that at some point, the relationship between Veroníca and her father turned into constant arguments. Veroníca reacted dramatically to every comment he made.
Dad became her worst enemy.
I had conflicts with my wife and daughter about it. I didn't allow it. Veroníca's mother claimed I wouldn't achieve anything with shouting, especially considering Veroníca had entered the teenage phase.
You're losing your family. You're not together anymore. Do I get it right?
Yes.
You broke up, and it happened while Veroníca still lived, right?
Yes.
We hadn't lived together for over a year before this happened. So yes, in 2017, sometime in April, my wife and daughter moved to another place. It's still in the village, but they rented the accommodation.
The couple separated for a while to calm down and cool off. Veroníca lived with her mother and saw her father occasionally. However, after their daughter's death, Nadíya and Dmytró realized they could never be together again.
I couldn't understand whether the boy towards whom Veroníca had strong feelings could be really involved in her death.
I phoned Yaroslav to check his alibi. We agreed to meet and talk at the station.
The psychics, Veroníca's parents, and her close friend Nadíya are waiting at the railway station.
Yaroslav said that he left the disco before Veroníca. He went from there with his friend Mikola and spent the night at his grandmother's house. However, when I checked Mikola's interrogation, his testimony contradicted Yaroslav's. When I left the disco, Yaroslav was already gone. I don't know where he was. Besides, nobody interrogated Yaroslav's grandmother as a witness.
Yaroslav's alibi isn't proven. So, could he really be involved in Veroníca's murder?
Yaroslav, did you see Veroníca on the day when she disappeared?
Yes. At around 6 or 7. We met at the station and went to the club.
To the disco, right? Okay. What time did you leave the disco?
I had to go to work the next morning, so I went home with Mikola. I was home after midnight, at around 12:30.
Then tell me, please, why does your friend claim he doesn't know where you went?
I have no idea.
And who did Veroníca stay with after you left?
I don't know.
Do you mean you went and left the girl you had a romantic relationship with alone?
Yes.
At that moment, the cards told me that someone else interfered in Veroníca and Yaroslav's relationship, leading to a conflict. It's a woman.
My sister. She forbade me to go out with Veroníca because she was too young.
Your sister attacked Veroníca.
Yes, I saw it.
She punched her once.
But why did the conflict happen?
At that moment, I saw an image of Veroníca surrounded by several teenagers. They were shouting at her, insulting her, and pushing her. She was a victim of bullying by her peers.
Yes. She was often insulted at school. She had many complexes about it.
In private conversations, Veroníca's friends confessed to me that students systematically bullied her, insulted her, threw her belongings away, and even started physically hurting her shortly before her death.
I don't understand one thing. She was smart and beautiful. Why did this happen?
Envy was the cause. Veroníca was targeted by her female peers precisely because she was attractive, looked more mature, and caught the attention of boys.
They constantly bothered her. For instance, she had full lips, and they said she'd had injections. She had a bust, and they claimed she stuffed her bra with tissues and other nonsense. Several times when I entered the classroom, they told me not to be friends with her, not to associate with her.
And when Veroníca started dating Yaroslav, things got even worse.
Yes. I went to sort it out. They began bullying her at school because she was dating an older guy.
Later, Veroníca's mother shared that a year before her daughter's death, she had her transferred to another school because of this.
She would come home with a broken nose, scratches, and bruises. So, she refused to go to that school.
But the bullying didn't end after that. I even see the insults being written.
Yes. She was often insulted both in real life and on social media. She tried swallowing pills. We spent all night irrigating her stomach. We had plenty of conversations, and we spoke to a counselor.
Stay tuned for the next episode. Are the teenagers who bullied Veroníca connected to her death? Don't miss out. The psychics will reveal the truth. Meanwhile, if you're impressed by this story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more amazing investigations are coming up.